Disaster Talk, where disaster is the talk of your town. I'm your host, Ruama Camp. I'm the Executive Director for Grace Community Services. Joining me today is the Director of Case Management all the way from the beautiful island of Galveston, Texas, Miss Kennette Williams. We thank you. We thank you so much for being here today. I know that you're such a busy person, especially right now as the projects and programs that you're working on are winding down. Miss Williams, tell us a little bit about yourself. How long have you been in the social service industry?
I'm a baby to the social service industry. Have been in about 5 years now.
And that's the baby status.
That's baby status. We have some professionals out there that have been in it much longer than I have.
Awesome. Well, I can truly say that 5 years is, and staying at a baby status is pretty good because we learn every day in this industry. Would you agree?
I definitely would definitely agree. Every day is a new day. Learn something new.
It is. Why don't you go ahead and tell me, what is the mission of the company you work for?
Wow. To sum it up in one word, I couldn't do it. The mission of Grace Community Services is really to get out there and help individuals that are in need, help them through the resources that are out in the community. Also, helping them to find out that, you know, there are people out there that will help them, to lead them and guide them, getting them information, educating them, and not only individuals that have been directly affected by disaster, but community leaders, organizations, so that if a disaster does occur, then they know how to implement the assistance and get the ball rolling and not wait for government entities to come in and to begin implementing things so that they have to do what the government says when the government says. They already have the know-how and the go-get-it attitude.
Awesome. Well, Miss Williams, I brought you in today for a very specific reason. I wanted you to be able to share what your role has been since the onset of Hurricane Ike. Tell us a little bit about what you've done and your experiences from the time Ike hit the shores of Galveston up until where you are and what you're doing now.
Grace Community Services is very proactive. When the Hurricane Ike was prognosed to hit the Gulf Coast, we began to kind of map out what we were going to do in terms of being able to assist individuals. We were on the downslope of closing out cases and assisting families with Hurricane Katrina, I know. But we knew then that if Hurricane Ike was going to come to the Texas Gulf Coast, that we would need to be in position to go out and help individuals. And so we sat down and began to map out a plan of what we would be able to do. Of course, we had to wait to, test the water, so to speak, and when they would allow individuals to begin to go back to the island. Once that happened, then we were able to go out and kind of assess where we would best fit. And so the first leg of that journey began when we went to work at a shelter. And so we pulled an emergency team together, and we went to a shelter that was housed on Galveston Island, which was nothing more than about 3 tents that were pulled together, and individuals, I think it was about 350 families that were housed at the shelter. And our role was to find them housing, and we had 8 days to do that. 8 days to get all those 350 families out of that shelter and into some type of self-sustainability. So that was the first leg. And so when we pulled together the team and we were deployed to Galveston, it was a task that was very rewarding, but very tiring in the fact that we knew that the assistance that we were given was only like a Band-Aid, because we had to get in there and we had to move quickly. And we were under a mandate again to find those families sustainable living, but that was difficult because the area that we were trying to assist them with had not recovered. And so the housing stock was pitifully poor. And so again, that was the first leg. From then, we were able to tap into what we call an LTRC, which is a long-term recovery committee, and they have funds that were donated from different entities that they got out to individuals that were needing assistance. And so we were able to then go out and advocate on clients' behalf for the things that they were needing, whether that be, temporary housing, maybe some rent money, clothing, because individuals had lost everything, food, furniture, things of that nature that would help them to get back on their feet. Also, to tap into their construction table for those homes that suffered minor damages. There were a lot of volunteer organizations there that were put in position that they could also help to begin some of that minor construction. From there, we actually had an opportunity to come under the RISE contract, which was implemented to assist individuals that were directly affected by Hurricane Ike, and that's currently what we're doing right now, assisting individuals that are needing assistance. Under the GRACE umbrella, 3 different offices, we cover 10 counties, and those counties spread from Austin to Matagorda, and then across the way over to Hardin, Jefferson, and Orange. But our total caseload to date is about 1,500 clients.
Let me ask you, you said something that was real significant when you said advocate.
Yes, ma'am.
So what I hear you to say is you started back in 2008. This is 2010, and you're still advocating for families. What is that like? Because as you shared with us, I heard the urgency from the emergency when it first hit, and now we're 2 years out, and I'm still hearing and seeing in your eyes the urgency of the emergency. So what I hear you telling me is that you're still advocating for families, and it's 2 years later.
Absolutely. Most people have in their brains that disaster should be over in 2 years, that individuals should be able to bounce back. We know, being the baby, we know that to be totally different. It could take anywhere from 6 years and up for families and individuals to recover. You know, we're looking at a town, a city that was totally devastated. You know, infrastructure is just now getting back to the city, to where they're beginning to rebuild homes and then rebuild them, and I can't even say at a rapid rate. And so, yeah, you know, 2 years later, we're just beginning to get our feet wet with the advocacy, with the advocating for clients. It's unfortunate because, again, this RISE project is coming to a conclusion, and it's right in the heart of when we really need to begin to really get our feet dirty and our hands dirty and begin the actual work.
So when you say the RISE program, what exactly is that?
RISE program is a project that was put together through the state of Texas. 10 different agencies came together with one lead agency so that we could get assistance to the individuals that were directly affected by Hurricane Ike. So those 10 agencies assist individuals with unmet needs, and that's supplying them with dollars and cents so that they can go out and get those things that that will put them in position to be safe, secure, and sanitary, and then also to help them with the process of rebuilding their lives. And then also there's monies out there for rebuilding of their homes and or repairs to homes. And so as the RISE agency, it's our role and our responsibility, those 10 agencies, to go out there and get it for the individuals.
Go out and get it for the individuals.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, that's really striking that you say that, because the RUSE list was put together with that in mind, to go out and find resources, make them available through a social network process to all case managers that are working alongside of the RISE program you mentioned. Case managers that maybe have never done this work. We always find that in disaster, it calls people from all neighborhoods to come together to heal the hurting people. And so some people are not familiar with the fast pace and the different levels of thinking that come into play when you are advocating for people, because we service all kinds of people, people with disabilities, all kinds of people.
People with pets.
People with pets, you know. I'd ask you about that, because being in the case management arena, how did you guys handle families that had pets?
Well, I'm glad that you brought up RUSE list, because in the very beginning, I could say that some of us had antiquated ideas and thoughts, and having something like RUSE list was a great benefit and a great help, because there are not a lot of entities and industries out there that assist families with pets. It's the same thing with being in the shelter when we were trying to place individuals. There were lots of people that had pets and wanted to get those pets, and the SPCA, the local SPCA, was housing them, but they weren't equipped to do so and to properly care for those pets, and so it was really difficult. But when you have a resource where all you have to do is push a button, then it makes it really easy, and it narrows your search down, and it points you in the right direction in which you need to lead. So Of course, at the very beginning, we pulled out those big antiquated books and we flipped through them to find, other areas. And for instance, people that lived in Galveston were having to ship their animals and have their animals bused to places like Clear Lake, Webster, and even into Houston, because those were places that were available to assist because they weren't as heavily damaged as Galveston. And that was devastating for some families and some individuals because the pets represented their families. But you do what you have to do in the heart of the matter, and until then, you dig in. But again, Rue's List is a great, great benefit because, again, it's a push of a button and you have all the information that you need at your fingertips.
Oh, awesome. I'm glad that you and your team has been utilizing it. If you would go ahead and expound this late after Hurricane Ike, what do you find that you have been doing and your staff in terms of getting resources to the families you serve? Because going to the long-term recovery table, you guys have been able to make tremendous strides. You're spending lots of money to get people back in their homes. Tell us about what that looks like for you on a weekly basis.
On a weekly basis, the three teams combined, we've been able to take about 50, just recently, we've been doing these marathons, but they've been allowing us to take about 70 families to the table to represent so that we could get assistance for them. To date, we've been able to assist over 350 families. The exact number is 354. And the dollar amount of money that we've been able to acquire for those families, and again, families don't receive direct dollars, but the dollars go to things that they need. It could be furniture, it could be appliances, clothing for work, things of that nature. We've been able to help them with over $500,000 worth of assistance.
Wow. That's great. That's great. That's great.
Yes, ma'am.
That is a lot of work.
It is a lot of work. Those are direct dollars, but again, the team, the services that we've been able to provide in terms of individuals needing assistance with rent, utilities, all that totaled up to, and those are different resources that are in the community and not the LTRC, but we've been able to help them with over $1 million worth of assistance.
Wow.
Now that's a wow. Let me say that backwards. Wow. That is wow. That is some great work that you guys are doing, but the fact that the money is available.
Yes, ma'am. Well, the good news is that the money in Galveston County is available. The money in Brazoria County is available, but the other counties that we service is very limited. I can say the counties that we service in the Golden Triangle, Jefferson, Hardin, and Orange, the money is very limited. There's little to no money there. Our case managers there have been able to tap into approximately $5,000. And so that is unfortunate, and I hate to say, but that's the way disaster works, but it is, Some communities and some counties have money and others don't. And so, you do what you can to dig in and go out there and get it, and you tap into whatever there is that's available.
When you say that about the difference in the monies and in the areas, I know there's been a lot of talk in the news and in the media about Orange County being the forgotten county. It too in East Texas was similar to a ground zero. They had already been hurt by Ike and Rita.
Right.
And so it really hurts when you're in case management and you can't help heal the people, or you don't have all the resources. And unfortunately in the work that you guys do, it's more need than money. And so with that, what are you seeing that, since you guys are winding down, what trend are you seeing with the case managers emotionally? Because when you work on this journey and you can't get them to a resource, and then the program is getting ready to close out, what are you seeing that their dispositions are?
There's a discord and a disconnect. As a director of case management, it's really difficult to see people that you've toiled with and been in it, kind of have that disconnect because they so want to get individuals assistance. They so want to connect the families to resources, but then those resources aren't there. And as case managers, we represent hope, hope for the hopeless. And then to see individuals, those case managers, day in and day out, tirelessly, work to try to connect people to resources is really very difficult. They come in and they try to fight a good fight. They come in with smiles, but that their heart really begins to leave it. Leave it because as we represent hope, there is no hope out there. And how do you tell someone that, we've been talking with you for 8 months, 9 months, 10 months about the possibilities of what might be, and now today I have to tell you that it doesn't look good. The sun's not shining on today. And so that takes an emotional toll, because we know that we're not supposed to bring individuals home with us. We're not supposed to bring those families home with us. But as you work with individuals on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, and they're pouring their hearts out to you in their stories, they become a part of you and your makeup. And so that is very difficult. Across the region, of course, as I mentioned, the 10 different counties, you find different attitudes and different affects. Like I said, in the Golden Triangle, it's difficult for the case managers to get up every day and to go to work and to put on that front of everything's going to be okay, knowing that it truly isn't, because at the end of this project, you're going to leave families unserved. And when you leave, they will be without direction. So that if monies do happen to come down, if information does come down, who's going to give them that information? And so with that in the back of their mind, and then me having to sit in front of you, the client, it's very difficult because you're playing both sides of the fence. And so emotionally, it's not a good place. It's not a stable place to be in. And then when you go to Brazoria County, you get excited because there's money out there. But now that money is going away. And so as you were excited because you were able to help individuals, now you're in this hurry up mode because it's going to be over very, very soon. And you know that you're just beginning to scratch the surface to begin to help families heal. Same with Galveston County. The money was there. It was flowing plentifully. And so the case managers felt good because they were able to get the people help. And then the clients come in, the families come in, and you're excited because they're excited. And then it all begins to dwindle again. And with the caseload that we have right now, we know that there will be, even though the money is plentiful in Galveston County, we know that there will be families that we won't be able to service because we ran out of time.
Ran out of time.
Ran out of time.
Ran out of time. When you say you're running out of time for an advocator, that's like you just blasted them out. That's like you said, the worst thing in the world. We're running out of time.
It's devastating, because the money is there. It may not be as plentiful as it was in the beginning, but you know that the resources are there. And even if take away the thought of that, the money is there and just the information. Working with county programs and city programs in terms of helping individuals with construction to their home, there's nothing more that we can do at this point. And so when we leave, we can't even help them to guide them to explain what a document says. We think of sometimes case management as just helping people to go out to get the money for the things that they need replacing, like furniture. But it's so much more than that. We have individuals that have low levels of reading, and so they bring in documents from insurance companies and from other community programs that they need you to read. Mm-hmm. And when you leave an area, and people are so dependent on you for just the small things, like reading a piece of mail and explaining what it says, that's devastating and hard, not only for them, but again, for the case managers. Because again, as this program is wrapping up, time is running out as well. And so we won't be in that community to offer that assistance, offer that ray of hope.
Running out of time, that in itself, I hear your cry, I hear your plea. I really want to thank you for the compassion that you've been able to exemplify on this journey. You stated that you had about 5 years of experience. And I know from my own experience, when you go from disaster to disaster to the disaster, you can get compassion fatigued. But I truly see the passion in your eyes. I noticed You started breathing differently when you talked about the people you serve and running out of time. You know, I think that a lot of us have to continue on this journey to be the advocates for more time.
Absolutely.
I think that people in government are doing an excellent job in trying to push the money our way, but we have to understand that we're dealing with people. Absolutely. And not paper, and we've got to have a little extra time. As we wrap up and we wind down, I would ask you, being the director of 3 regions, wow, that is a lot. That is a lot. In your own words, what could you and would you say to the case managers, the supervisors, the people in construction, the people who are watching Rude's List today? What words of encouragement would you offer them coming from where you sit, having to look at things totally different than a case manager? What would you say?
I would say that, you know, now is not the time to get weak and weary. It's the time to dig in, because we got to go out there and get it. You know, we might want to sit on the curb and feel sorry for ourselves, and you know, we might want to be contemplative, and all those things are good. All of those things are needed, but we can't do it right now. We've got to continue to push and forge ahead, because we don't know what the future holds. And if we give up now, you know, we've eradicated all of the hope. And as we are individuals that spark hope to communities, we have to make sure that we keep that in the forefront of our minds. You know, we have to go in with the same attitude that we had in the very beginning, because we don't know how we've affected individuals. You know, just with your words of encouragement, a smile can change someone's entire affect, their entire day, their entire outlook on things, and that's who we represent. We represent change. And with that, you know, we got to go out there and we got to get it, and we can't stop fighting until the very, very end. And the fat lady has not sung, so we got to keep on going.
Awesome, awesome. Again, Ms. Kennette Williams, Director of Case Management with Grace Community Services. I thank you so much for joining us today. I thank you for coming out of the field and knowing how important the Rude's List is. But I hope that you know how important you are to the journey and to the voice of disaster. We put this whole TV show together so that disaster would have a voice and that it could talk to the people. I understand how important it is to be able to get it to the street. So if you're a case manager, you're a supervisor of case management, I encourage you to keep holding on and keep delivering hope to the hopeless. I encourage you to go to the Rude's List daily. Check out those hot lists. Get it to the people, as Ms. Williams so eloquently stated. Again, we thank you for joining us today. Well, that's it for me. This is Ruama Camp, Executive Director with Grace Community Services and Disaster Talk.